So yesterday I created a video talking about the law of leadership, right? And I got a really great response. A lot of people reaching out wanting to know more about that, wanting to have a conversation. So I decided to do a series on this. Now, if you're curious, where did I get all this information from? Like, where did I learn about these laws? I learned it directly from an audiobook that I read called The 22 Immutable Laws of Marketing, right? It's written by Al Rice and Jack Trout. Listened to the audiobook, but I definitely recommend picking it up, whether it be for a listen or a read. If you want to go in depth and really understand the psychology behind marketing, the psychology behind a consumer, this is a really, really, really great educational book as far as all of that goes. Now, I said yesterday we touched on, the law of leadership and a little bit on the law of category, even though I don't think I mentioned the law of category. Now, what is the law of leadership? The law of leadership is that it's better to be first to market than it is to be the best. It's better to have the first product out in the marketplace than it is actually to have a better product. Now, a prime example of this is I remember like Apple, right? When the iPod came out. In general, when the iPods were coming out, I remember Zune was a fairly popular product that was competing against Apple. Now, Apple was first to the market. Whether or not they had a better product, who knows, right? Zune, I remember, maybe wasn't as easy to use, but you can carry way more songs. It was like crazy how many more songs you could carry and how you could control it. But everybody bought the product from Apple because they were first, in the category. They owned the category, and it didn't really matter. You'd have to create an entirely new category, which they had already done, coming away from like Walkmans and cassette tapes and CD play, portable CD players and all that kind of stuff. It was all in this portable world, but now it's this new category. Now it's this portable MP3 player, right? So Zune was going to have to tweak and create a new category to really be able to separate themselves from that, and that's not something that they did. And Zune may or may not be around today. I don't know, but Apple definitely still is. So if you aren't first in the category, create a new category that you can be first in. Now, a prime example, in yesterday's video, I talked about the first person to travel to fly over the Atlantic solo, right? So in 1927, Charles A. Lindbergh completed the first solo nonstop transatlantic flight in history. Okay, so he was the first person to nonstop by himself fly over the Atlantic Ocean. Okay, and he's very well known. Everybody knows that name because of that. Even if it's like, as soon as I say it, people are like, oh yeah, I've heard that before. Even if they don't directly remember exactly that this is who it was and whatnot. But do you know the second person to do it? Or the third, or the fourth, or the fifth, or the 10th, or the 12th? No, we don't. Because of the law of leadership, we remember Charles A. Lindbergh because he was the first to do it, and that's who gets all the credit, right? We don't remember the second person to break the 5-minute mile or the 4-minute mile, but we remember the first. And this is a constant thing that you'll see in every industry, in every aspect. The first to do it, because of the law of leadership, is going to be the one who is remembered. Now, oddly enough, the third person to travel the Atlantic solo was Amelia Earhart. Now, whether she did this on purpose or not, Amelia Earhart understood that Lindbergh had the law of leadership on his side, right? And she understood that the law of category meant she could tweak a little bit and be the first woman to fly the Atlantic solo, right? And now today, people probably know Amelia Earhart's name more prominently than they even do Lindbergh, right? If I were to say the first woman to travel it, more people are going to have the answer of Amelia Earhart than if I were to ask the first person to ever do it, and being able to. And so it just proves that this law of category, if you can tweak yourself, you can adjust enough to create your own category that you can be first in, that it's more valuable than trying to compete with whoever is already the leader in that category. Okay. So how are you doing this in your business? Because I know I've seen time and time again with the coaches that I work with who come in and they're trying to create this perfect product, right? They're trying to create the perfect lead magnet. They're trying to create the perfect digital product before they're even testing it in the marketplace. They're trying to create, the perfect one-on-one, the perfect group program, whatever it is, before testing it, rather than recognizing that it's more important to be first than it is to be the best. And so the best comes over time of testing it in the marketplace and getting it validated by enough people that say, this is a great, fantastic product. That's how you test a product. So are you doing that? Are you spending too much time trying to create the perfect this and the perfect that, rather than following the law of leadership and finding that it's better to be first? So just getting it out there, getting it validated and getting it tested, right? And then secondly, are you competing with the number one or two people in your industry or in your category when you could be tweaking just a bit and be the first in a new category that you can now take up and pick up all of that market share and all of the consumers that come with it. Those are things that you would want to focus on. Now, tomorrow I'm going to touch on what's called the law of mind and the law of perception, and these go hand in hand. And they really, as we go through this, as we go through the 22 laws, you're going to see how they all build like this stepping stone to really have a solid understanding of the psychology behind marketing and the psychology behind the consumer, and how you can utilize this to benefit your business and get more quality clients that you want to work with into your business, therefore creating more transformation and a bigger impact. Okay, we'll see you around, guys.